Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second lesson for health. We're going to be talking more about how diseases spread. So, our joke of the day is the little comic that you find right here. It says, "My doctor told me to start my exercise program very gradually. Today I drove past a store that sells sweatpants." And that's funny because he's really taking his doctor's advice seriously and going super slow at first. Ha ha ha. Okay, do now. I want you to name 2 of the 4 types of pathogens that we learned last week. Write them down on a piece of paper. If you need to, pause the video to give you more time. But otherwise, I'm going to keep on moving. So, our job today, the TEACs, or our standards that we're going to be looking at, 4.5 B and C, that is, identify different pathogens and explain how the body protects itself from pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, and fungi. 4.5C is discuss ways in which prevention and transmission of diseases are affected by individual behaviors. So, last week we talked about the 4 different types of pathogens: viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protists. And this week we are going to talk about how pathogens enter the body and how you can keep yourself safe and keep pathogens from spreading. So, our objective for the day: the learner will identify 2 ways that pathogens can enter the body and list 2 habits that keep pathogens from spreading. Okay. So, how pathogens enter the body? They can be in the air you breathe, in soil and water, and on the food you eat. There are pathogens on people and other animals, plants, and objects that you touch, such as doorknobs and handlebars. Pathogens such as bacteria and fungi get into the body through the eyes, nose, mouth, and through other breaks in your skin. Your body has so many ways that can protect you from pathogens. So, in order to cause an illness, a pathogen has to break down these protections. Your body has ways to destroy a pathogen before it can make you ill. For example, tears and saliva contain chemicals that destroy many pathogens before they can cause harm. So, here is a diagram of the 4 places that pathogens enter the body: through your skin, eyes, mouth, and nose. You're having clean, unbroken skin, so no cuts or scrapes, helps keep pathogens from getting into the body. Your skin has several layers of cells that keep pathogens out. Your eyes. Whenever you touch an object that has pathogens on it, you may transfer them to your eyes if you rub your eyes. That's why it's so important to keep your hands away from your face. Somebody who has a cold that releases droplets containing cold viruses into the air when they sneeze, you breathe those droplets in through your nose. So it's also a good idea to steer clear of anybody that has a cold. And then finally, your mouth. If you bite your nails or wipe your mouth with your hands, any pathogens on your hands can also get into your mouth. Now, here's a fun question for you. Where do you think is the place on your body that has the most germs? I'll give you a hint. Actually, I'm just going to tell you the answer. It's your mouth. Your mouth has the most germs. So it is so important that you keep your hands away from your face, especially your eyes and your mouth. So, how pathogens enter your skin? 1, through cuts and scrapes. Your skin is kind of like a waterproof covering for your body and your organs. However, pathogens can get into scrapes and cuts in your skin. Washing small cuts and scrapes with soap and water removes a lot of the pathogens that you might get on your skin. Covering a larger cut or scrape with a bandage after it has been cleaned up definitely helps to protect you from getting pathogens in those cuts or scrapes. Make sure you tell your parents or a guardian if a cut cut or scrape becomes red, swollen, or sore, because that means that you might have an infection. Next, pathogens can enter your skin through puncture wounds. So objects like nails, staples, or other objects that are pointed can go deep into your skin and make a deep hole called a puncture wound. Bacteria can grow in a puncture wound. So, if you get a puncture wound, make sure you see a doctor, because you could get tetanus, which is a type of bacteria. And usually, you get a tetanus shot probably about every 8 to 10 years or so. It depends also on if you do get a puncture wound and what object got in your skin. Okay, next. And last, pathogens can enter your skin if you have an animal bite. So, some ticks and mosquitoes can carry diseases that affect humans. When you're outside and you're in an area maybe where ticks could be, make sure that you wear long pants, a long sleeve shirt, and a hat. And if you're in a wooded area, it also might be a good idea to tuck your pants into your socks. And also, more than anything else, make sure you're using insect repellent. Here's one example. Rabies is a viral disease that's carried in the saliva of some warm-blooded animals. Rabies causes harm to the nervous system of a person who is bitten by an infected animal. You can't always tell if an animal is infected, so make sure you tell your parent or your guardian immediately if you're bitten by a dog, cat, raccoon, skunk, or bat. It's also a good idea to get care from a doctor as soon as you can. Alright, so now we've kind of learned a little bit about how pathogens can enter your body. Now let's talk about how you keep from spreading them. So, what can you do to keep yourself healthy? You can develop simple habits to keep pathogens from getting into your body. 1. Keep them away from your nose and eyes. Keep your hands clean and away from your eyes and nose and mouth. Cover your mouth and nose with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Throw the used tissue away, not just at the trash can, in the trash can. And then make sure you wash your hands really well with warm water and use soap for at least 20 seconds. 2. Keep pathogens away from your mouth. Do not put objects or your fingers in your mouth. Wash your hands after using the restroom every time and before you prepare or eat food. Do not touch or eat pork or chicken that's not cooked completely. Do not drink or swim in unclean water. And 3, keep pathogens away from your bloodstream. Hepatitis B is a viral disease of the liver. A person is exposed to this disease when he or she has a cut that comes in contact with the blood that is infected with the hepatitis B virus. People who abuse drugs and share needles expose themselves to this disease. So, don't share needles, and if you come into contact with blood, like let's say you touch blood on a table or another surface, wipe it up with a paper towel or a Lysol wipe and disinfect it before you touch that surface. Alright, so let's review. Our job today was to identify 2 ways that pathogens can enter the body and list 2 habits that keep pathogens from spreading. So, we learned how pathogens can enter our body, and we learned some ways that we can keep pathogens from spreading. So, your assignment for today. You are responsible when you do things that take care of your health. I want you to select 3 healthful behaviors that you can begin practicing now. I want you to write them out on a sheet of paper. Keep track of how often you do this behavior for 3 or 4 days this week. Then, at the end of those 3 or 4 days, identify which behaviors are becoming a habit and which ones you still need to work on. And then write your reflections on the same sheet of paper. And also, make sure you complete your lesson MOL on Google Forms. Your MOL is what's going to count for the grade for this lesson. And finally, your extension activity. So this is a little bit more of a creative activity. I want you to write a poem or make up a saying that will remind you to wash your hands often and keep them away from your face. Awesome job today, guys. I'm so proud of the way that you guys have been learning and interacting with the lessons last week, and I want you to please keep up the hard work. I know that things are crazy and Very different from what you're used to, but I believe in you guys, and I know that you can do it.